Three young NHL stars are off to great starts. Which one would you pick to begin a franchise? Hey, everyone. Welcome into Off the Post. Rob Wong, joined as always by Bruce Garrioch, Steve Simmons, and Patrick Johnston. And guys, we know the NHL is trending more and more to be a young man's game, but right now there are three budding stars that are making waves. San Jose's Macklin Celebrini, Chicago's Connor Bedard, and New York Islanders defenseman Matthew Schaefer. Oh, they all just happen to be the last three number one overall picks, and all Canadian, of course. Patrick, we'll begin with you. There's a BC boy, of course, and Connor Bedard, and you're out west watching some Macklin Celebrini. Maybe not seeing Matthew Schaefer as much, but hard not to see the highlights he's putting up right now. What do you make of these three? And if you were to pick one to begin a franchise with, who are you going with?
Well, listen, I've seen the buzz. I heard Steve Simmons criticizing me last week for my neglect of Matthew Schaefer, but I'm still going with Hayden Celebrini. He's a kid we've seen tons of. I mean, he spent time growing up in the Bay Area, but obviously originally from North Vancouver as well. Connor Bedard is a great talent, but we're seeing him here tonight in Vancouver. We saw him twice last year. There was enough sort of flaws and troubles, sort of junior hockey mentality in the way he was playing that made me wonder. I'm not sure I'm going with this guy right now, but Hayden Celebrini, every time I've seen him out there, I have been sold. This guy is everything you need to build your team around. Matthew Schaefer, certainly the buzz is there, and certainly people are responding to a player that is an absolutely outstanding talent. I've just seen enough, and there's enough right now behind what Celebrini's done for me to say he's the guy.
So if you look at Celebrini and watch him a lot, and I do, every night he does something that impresses you. That's the difference, to my mind, between him and Bedard.
Yes.
Bedard has great games, but in between his great games, he kind of drifts away for a little bit and then comes back. Yeah. And I don't see Celebrini drifting. I see he looks great every night, and he does things that you sort of say, wow.
Yeah.
Now, having said that, if I'm given a choice between a teenage defenseman who can skate like Makar and Quinn Hughes and a forward, I'll take the defenseman every day of the week. Matthew Schaefer turned 18 in September. He was 17 when he was drafted. He is the youngest player in the NHL. If you watch him every night, there's a wow factor, like there was with Makar. I don't think Quinn Hughes was even that good in his first year or two, the way he is now. This guy's doing what they're doing. He's about to join them in that very elite, exclusive club. And if given a choice to build a franchise at any time between a top-level forward and a top-level defenseman, I'll take the defenseman every day of the week.
You know, it's interesting, Steve. How old are you, Steve?
68.
You're 68. So if you Brian Kilray told me once, he asked me my age, and I said at that time I was 23. He said, you know what? Next year you'll be 24. And I didn't know what to think of that. But this year I'm 60, and next year I'm 61. So we're past our best before date, Steve. That's what I'm getting at, right? Okay. Like all these guys they don't have any best before dates because they're still young. I hate to agree with our Westerner on this one, but I do. I just think that Celebrini is a guy who I think he's taken his game to another level this year. And I don't mean that Bedard, I tend to agree with you a little bit, Stephen, that Bedard shows, how do you put this, like that there are some nights he just doesn't look like he's a difference maker. And then there are others that he does. But I think what we've seen with Celebrini this year is a real improvement in his game. And not only at one end of the ice, I think he's also improved defensively. And I think he's a little bit better in the face-off circle. If you held a gun to my head and said, you've got to choose one guy to pick your team or to build your team around, I would say that I would go with Celebrini. And also, Steve, Rob Wong and Patrick Johnson, they still have upside potential.
You mentioned age, by the way. I don't know if you guys look at it the same way I do, but my view of the league, my view of players, has broadened so much in the last 45 years of doing this. Like what I thought 20 years ago or 30 years ago or even 10 years ago is very different than what I think today. And even how I watch the game and all the years that I coached 26 seasons of minor hockey. You learn a lot doing that kind of thing, and my view of hockey's never been clearer, I think. And so, yeah, I'm an old guy, but when I look at something that's new and special, I get excited. And that's why I get excited by watching Celebrini. I get excited by watching Schaefer. These are guys who are jumping into the NHL and excelling immediately. And it's very hard to do that, especially as a teenager. It's very hard to do that. Your body's still developing.
Steve, is there something in particular that stands out to you that why you sort of had this epiphany of being more broad in how you look at hockey?
I just think the way the game's changed. You look at I'll use Quinn Hughes as an example because you're in Vancouver and I love to watch Quinn Hughes play. He plays a game you can't even define or explain. Like if you go back to the 90s or 80s or 70s, as great as Paul Coffey might have been offensively, he didn't have the control of the game kind of stuff that Quinn Hughes has. Right. He didn't have all the thoughts that Quinn Hughes has. And so I love watching people develop. And I don't know if as I get older, I see more things that I maybe didn't see before, but I sure have come to appreciate. There's a list of about 10 guys in the NHL who just play the game in a different way than everybody else. And boy, are they fun to watch.
And I saw a pretty good Matthew Schaefer here, I should say. He had a great day. The day he was here in Ottawa. I look at it now, and you talk about those difference makers, and you think about Bobby Orr. Imagine Bobby Orr now, if with the technology, even the knee surgeries, that wouldn't have ended Bobby Orr's career in that day and age.
Yeah. Well, look, I'll leave you with one thought here, not to age ourselves anymore, but I saw a post on Tuesday night after Matthew Schaefer was playing. He was 12 years old when the pandemic was going on, so it wasn't that long ago. He was a literal child when all that was happening.
On top of that, Rob, I think he played 17 games last year before he got hurt. He played his last year of junior, 17 games. How little has this guy played?
It's crazy.
Yeah,
he's in the pandemic 1 minute and he's starring in the NHL the next.
Incredible job by the Islanders. They're feeling pretty good about that number 1 overall pick. Let us know who you would take if you were to start a franchise with any of these 3 guys in the comment section below. For Bruce Garrioch, Patrick Johnston, and Steve Simmons, I'm Rob Wong. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.